And welcome back to Subculture. We have got some very, very special guests on the line that we're about to talk to at the moment. Sister duo Oceanique picked up last year at the Folk Alliance Awards the Australian Youth Artist of the Year, and of course we want to play their brand new single Time Passes, which is taken from their debut album Would the Light Hold Me. Now, we thought we'd like to get to know Oceanique a little bit more before we play Time Passes, so we thought this morning we would actually get Maddie and Jess on the phone to talk a little bit about this single and the upcoming album. Welcome to the program.
Hello. Hello. Thanks for having us.
So, first of all, I've got to say congratulations on your award win of, like I said, Youth Artist of the Year. That's a fantastic award to pick up. How did that make you both feel picking up that award?
It was amazing. Yeah, I still can't really believe it, I think, and it's been like 6 months.
Yeah, I think it's just nice to be like recognized for for what you're doing, I guess, because you just keep going and writing songs and releasing music. So it was really nice to have that recognition.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And you had a pretty big year last year, of course. You also appeared at the Folk Music Awards. You also went to Tasmania for the Signet Folk Festival. It must have felt good being able to get out there and do things like that after a couple of years of lockdowns.
Yeah, exactly. I think touring nationally for us felt so far away for such a long time. And it was really nice to be able to go to Tasmania and come over to Melbourne and
yeah, we were so excited. Like initially, like when we first came over to Melbourne, like for the show, we were like so excited, like actually being able to play a show outside of WA because we'd done that for so long. So yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And Western Australia was like Victoria. You had a pretty strict lockdown. How did you spend that time? Did you just spend that time crafting your music and working on new music?
Yeah, a lot of it actually, we went down to our hometown, which is down in regional WA, like down south of WA, and yeah, we just kind of wrote new music and we were working on the album actually quite a bit.
I think it was I mean, COVID wasn't good for anyone, like lockdown or anything, but we tried to make the most out of that lockdown and like really spend time like working on our sound and like what we wanted it to be, I think, which was really...
It was kind of nice in a way that the whole world had stopped, so you didn't feel like you were missing out on anything and you could just like work on what you wanted to work on, like in a sense, I think, was kind of nice.
Yeah, definitely. And what kind of things were inspiring you to write at that time? Like, was there different themes that you wanted to explore on the album, or were you just taking it one song at a time?
We definitely just took it one song at a time. I think even like before, like a month before we went into the studio, we'd like written a new song and we were like, oh, I guess that can go on the album. Like anything new that we kind of were writing, we were like, oh yeah, this can be on the album.
I think because it's our first album, we wanted it to be quite like authentic to us and not create like a theme or anything like that. We wanted it to be the songs that kind of came naturally, so that's definitely what we did.
Yeah.
When you say come naturally, what kind of thing inspires you to write? Is it normally what you're going through in life at that time or what you see in the world around you? What kind of things do you find inspire you to sit down and work on lyrics?
It's definitely what we're going through or like what's happening around the time of us writing. I always find that we'll write a song and then like a couple weeks later we'll be like when we write it we're like not sure what it's really about sometimes, and it kind of starts from one idea and kind of goes from there, and then a couple weeks later we'll be like, oh, that's what that means,
or like that's exactly how I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, it's like you've written it for your future self in a way. It's kind of funny. We tend to find more meanings from the songs that we write like later after they've been written. So it's kind of nice that they can have that changing meaning.
Yeah, because I guess they mean something to you as you're writing it, but then like later, like you relate to it in a different way.
And Time Passes is such a beautiful track. Tell us a little bit about that track. What was the inspiration behind that track and how long ago did you write that one?
So we wrote that one, I think it was at the start of last year, and we'd just been down in our hometown over Christmas, and we'd kind of left our friends and family from Perth because we were living in Perth and went down to our hometown for 6 weeks, and we'd gotten back to Perth, and we kind of had just felt like all of our friends had moved on in a sense and kind of like forgotten about us. Like we were way over dramatizing the whole situation. But it was kind of like that feeling of like there wasn't a place for you anymore, like after you'd been away for such a long time.
Yeah, and I feel like we always used to go back and forth between like different places, even like going on tour or something like that, and it's that feeling that you're moving on in your life and other people that you used to know kind of like move on and change themselves, and then you get back and you feel like you've missed all this stuff and you're kind of unsure like where you fit.
Yep.
So that was where it kind of came from.
I'm sure it's a track that a lot of people are going to relate to out there as well, because we've all been through those feelings. Have you had people reach out to you so far about the track and say, hey, I feel that, I know exactly what you're writing about?
We've had a few people like relate to it quite a bit, which is nice, and
it kind of has that changing meaning as well, because we recently just moved over to Melbourne from WA, and it even has a new meaning to us.
And like one of our friends over in WA, like on release day, they sent us this message and like quoted one of the lyrics from the song. Like it's impossible to understand
how you feel from this far away. And she was like, oh, I hope you feel supported and loved, like, even though you're far away. And I was like, wow, that's such a different way to look at those lyrics.
Yeah, it was really nice, actually.
So, yeah, it's been really nice.
That was such a huge move coming from Western Australia to Melbourne. How did you find that move, and how do you find the music scene here in Melbourne?
Yeah, the music scene is great.
Yeah,
we've been going out to so many shows. It's been really beautiful. The first week of us being over here was a bit challenging because it was a bit of a big shock, I guess, to the system, moving states. But we're here now and we're really excited for what's to come.
Definitely. Now, bringing it back to the album, you, of course, worked with James Newhouse as producer. Tell us a little bit about James and what he brought to your music as well.
James is amazing. He like his ear, like what he can hear, and
he really like every time we'd bring a song to him, he would listen to it and we'd listen to it. He'd ask us what we wanted to add, and then all of a sudden you could just see his like creative brain working, and he was like, oh, we should add this, we should add that, and like
it was very like much about each song.
Yeah,
like every song that we kind of had for the album, it was very much about like what the song needed, and just the way he looked at like production and adding different stuff was really, really nice and like quite authentic, which was kind of the vibe that we were going for. So it was like a really beautiful experience recording with him.
Definitely. Well, I know a lot of people out there are excited about the album coming out, and I noticed that you've got it on vinyl and CD as well. Was that important to you to have it on physical media as well as streaming platforms?
Yeah, I think we've always wanted to release an album ever since we were 8 years old.
Yep.
So we wanted it to be like, we wanted vinyl,
and I wanted the like physical like copy that you could hold in your hands and like look at it and be like, that's what we created.
That. Yeah. So it was definitely important for us.
And we listened to a lot of our favorite albums on vinyl, so I feel like that was something important to us to be like, we must press vinyl and get our album on it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, of course, you've got some shows coming up on Friday the 24th of March. You're supporting Emily Barker, but then in April, you're heading up to the National Folk Festival in Canberra. First of all, how do you feel about heading up to the National Folk Festival, and also, what are your plans for the rest of this year after the album comes out as well?
Yeah, we're so excited to go to National. We actually can't wait.
Yeah, I remember last year seeing all of my favourite bands playing there. Like, I was like watching their Instagram stories, and I was like, what is this festival? And I'm so excited that we get to be a part of it.
Yeah, so exciting.
Yeah.
And then for the rest of this year, we're just going to do a lot of touring and just kind of like get the album as far and wide as we can.
Yeah, we're planning to do like a regional Victoria tour, which will be really cool, and like some shows back in our home state of WA. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, I know a few of our listeners will be heading up to the National Folk Festival, which is running from Thursday the 6th to Sunday the 10th of April in Canberra. Make sure you grab your tickets so that you'll be able to see so many great artists up there, including Oceanique. But for right now on our show, we're going to play Time Passes, which of course is from Would the Light Hold Me, the album. Is there anything you'd like to say to our listeners out there before they take a listen to the track and before they go out and grab a copy of the album as well?
Just thanks for listening. Yeah, it means so much to us. So yeah, thank you.
Well, here you go, listeners. You are listening to Subculture right now, and this is Time Passes by Oceanique.